My name is Siddharth Purohit, usually known as Sid in the community, and I'm part of QPilot team, and I've been working on ArduPilot in embedded world mostly for last 10 years, over 10 years actually. So yeah, here's my latest project that I've been working on is an VS extension. And so how many of you guys here actually use VSCode for development? All right, not enough. We need more. Basically, there's a VSCode tool that's been there for quite a while now and becoming quite popular with the developers in ArduPilot and everywhere else as well. It's a project that's very written in a web sort of webby tools like TypeScript, Node.js, and a lot of visual elements are from more modern tools. So it basically is very easy to create extensions for a VS Code, right? And it can be quite powerful. So the idea with the VS Code extension is to basically make it easier for new developers and new people to just come on board quickly and just get on to the real work rather than sort of fighting with their machines to compile the basic ArduPilot project. So that's sort of the goal and agenda with this project, and that's the core principle, but there's more to it that we want to do with it. So I'll try to avoid all the demagogues and just keep it simple and use videos instead of demos. And because I don't have enough time here, so we'll just run through quickly through all the features and all the things that we have in VS Code extension. Hopefully it's all visible, but we'll see. So basically this is the old way of doing things where you had this, keyboard bindings you had to launch. So this is the old, like 3 years, 4 years ago when I actually wrote the initial version of the extension. And it's just something that is really hidden in the VS Code. So I think most of you are not even aware that this existed for the last 4 years, where you could just type this key binding and have, just type cube orange or whatever, board plus target name, and you would have this way to compile things quickly. So it's been there for a while. Not many people are aware. So last year someone came up to me and told me that they've been using it. I'm like quite surprised. I myself have not been using that. So I was like, okay, let's do it properly and make it more neat and easy to use. So on the right we have something that is a modern interface and how basically it's more available for people to just see and use it. So the first step is what platforms does it support? So most of it, like I think unless you have a weird and wacky OS system, it's basically supported. So if you have a Debian-based system like Ubuntu, it should work. A Windows plus WSL2 configuration should work. A Mac OS, ARM or Intel, doesn't matter. This extension should work fine. And as far as editors go, anything related to VS Code or VS Code clone, the extension should work as well. So let's quickly run down through the feature sets, the core features that we have available in the extension. So first step is, how do you install in this extension? So whenever you launch ArduPilot in VS Code, there should be a little pop-up on the right corner saying, please install this recommendation of extension, and it'll be like this little thing on the corner where you can click install, and you'll be able to install the extension immediately. If not, you can just go to the extensions bar here and basically search for ArduPilot, and it'll basically take you this dev env. You can just click install, and you should have the extension ready to go. Once you have that installed, the first step you might want to do is either clone, unless you don't have already cloned and you have never used Git in your life, and you want to just get on with the installation of ArduPilot on your system. You can just click this clone, and it will basically pull the latest master from ArduPilot GitHub account and clone it into your system, and you'll have that available and loaded into the VS Code extension immediately. Another feature that is introduced into the extension is, the environment validation. I know it is like, a lot of developers are not used to, or especially the new upcoming, are not very used to doing command line commands and, even finding the install script or even going through that whole process of setting up an environment on you can start compiling ArduPilot, launching CTL and all that stuff. So with this extension, you can basically run down through this list of checklists, which will walk you through all the things that you need to actually build and run ArduPilot in your system. And you can have this, nice little buttons where it fails. You can simply click there, fix issues, and it will walk you through the process to install it right below it in the terminal. And you can basically go through this process for each and every basically tool. Like if you have a Python, you can install Python and have that linked properly, have all the Python packages that are installed to compile and run, Mav proxy and all that stuff will be installed into your system. All the debug tools that you have, OpenOCD, JLink, you can get all that installed as well. All the right versions as well, because sometimes people get OpenOCD and they are like, they don't have the real features that is actually possible with both JLink and OpenOCD, which we will see that this extension also provides. So you can have that all installed into your system very, very easily through this simple list without even touching command line. I mean, you sort of touch, but not really. So yeah, this basically gives you an environment validation process for your system. So it can be actually quite helpful for anyone who's sitting here and have got some systems, some things missing, or especially the C cache one is the easiest one to miss where you don't have the C cache set up properly, and the compile times are just huge. Every time you recompile, that can be made quite quick if you have C cache set up quite properly, and it's all listed in there. So all you have to do is just run down this list and make things happy. So once you have validated your system so the previous one that we showed was for macOS, and this one is for Ubuntu and Windows. So you have similar sort of setup that you have to run through. Build configuration. So let's say you want to build for a board or a CTL or something like that. How do you do that? Right now is you have to sort of type in a command and sort of go through that process. There is no UI field or UI application that can help you or guide you through the process of what's needed. So this is sort of what gives you that ability as well. So everything that you can do on command line, you can do it through the build configuration, but with a better visuals and better experience in terms of UI. Gives you the list of, and it extracts all of this from the ArduPilot project that you have already cloned. So this is not hard-coded, most of it at least. So you can just go through this basically process and have your compilation going straight away, right? Similar thing with the hardware builds as well. The only thing with the hardware builds is you get this nice little MCU targets and all the things that will be used for doing debugging later down the sort of process that we'll see. So you can actually visualize that and sort of check that that's all good. And that's basically the additional thing with the hardware build configuration. So these are the common actions that you usually do in ArduPilot project. So you basically build a firmware, debug, clean everything. So in case something is not right, you have a bad hardware, include errors and stuff like that, you can just clean and start again, upload firmware or run CTL in this case, or do a disk clean which just wipes everything, just gives you a clean sheet. So there's been suggestion of doing a submodule update as well. So we'll add that to this section, and we can add more sort of suggestions as they come to this list as well. So let's say you have a special sort of WOF command you want to run. You have something special command that you want to run. So there's a way to actually override it and save it in this basically workspace. So you can come back to it and run this command the special command that can be, have running some extra things before and after the configure, or running special things after the build or before the build. So this sort of gives you that ability as well. The only problem is it's not easy to debug this kind of situation, so you won't see much options around that. So you'll probably see some, just disk clean and build firmware options. So you have to do some manual cleaning if you have something like this, but it does have that ability for you for people to use. This feature configuration. So let's say you have built a firmware and you want to actually add some new features to it or remove features from it. So we have had that configuration in the web UI for a long time, but unfortunately to do that on your own machine, it's a real pain. You have to search through this list of, big list of things to be able to figure out what flags you need to set. So here is a straight up easy visualized approach where you can just go through, search through all the features, mark, enable features you want, and it'll just add the specific flag for that feature straight up into your basically command line like this right here. You can have the we basically disabled mount, and it'll just show up in the feature configuration. So you can either enable it, or you can just remove this flag entirely from the configuration as well. So it gives you a visual sort of view of enabling and disabling features without going through the list of commands and just sort of there's a lot of hidden stuff you could miss that you can just search through it very, very easily. So that's sort of. Yeah, so that's sort of a nice little thing here as well. And again, all of this is basically stored in your workspace. You can easily go back to it, and you'll have multiple features enabled, disabled, whatever configuration you want. Sometimes people want to do debugging and they don't have enough flash to run the debug firmware, and they have to scan through all the features they can disable. So it just makes all that very, very easy, and like a 30-second process rather than a 15-minute process. So that can be quite handy as well. Let's move on to the hardware debugging part. So this is one of the features that has been so far limited to, I would say, maybe 5% or less developers to be able to do step debugging in a hardware. So if you have a ST-Link or a J-Link, it is possible to do debugging, but you have to sort of launch this TUI GDB environment, which most of the users are actually not accustomed to, but most of the people are here actually accustomed to using an IDE type system where you can just do step debugging, place breakpoint in the files and stuff like that. So this basically enables that. And again, across all three platforms, not just Ubuntu, also on Mac OS and Windows plus WSL. And even in WSL, you don't need, a USB IP and all that stuff to connect your J-Link to your WSL instance. It just sorts it out right in the Windows environment and connects it to the WSL2. So that makes it very, very easy. You have all the thread views available here. You have all the peripheral views available here, so you can just easily debug all the issues and things that you're facing in the hardware debugging. So CTL debugging, similar approach, but it runs on CTL. So not much to it in terms of launch. You just launch it; it'll launch it for you. Attach. So CTL debugging attached, so you have a CTL instance that's running. So you have a swarm setup, you have 10 drones flying in your laptop, and you want to sort of attach and debug to them. So this is a way it'll basically, when you launch debug, it'll give you a list of PIDs that you can attach to with the command line arguments that's been given to it. So you can select and connect to them. And the key part is you can actually connect to multiple drones at the same time. So you can have like 10 drones all attached with VSCode, because this is something that is available in VSCode. And you can place breakpoints and stuff like that with everything at once, rather than having like 10 different GDB TUIs open to be able to debug that easily. So this is something that is very, very nice about VSCode as well. Here's another feature, the connected devices. So you can have a list of devices that are connected to your system, and sort of you want to launch MAV proxy. So rather than sort of doing a list of your dev and seeing what USBs are available, it will just show you right there with the device name, and you can connect with MAV proxy and away you go. So quick launch, you'll have this, Control-Shift-B option and F5 option. So you have configured this system, and you want to just not go back to that, AP thing and click buttons and stuff like that. What you want to do is make a change and immediately build. So you can do that with simply clicking Command-Shift-B. So you don't even have to go back to your sort of system to be able to launch another build. You just Command-Shift-B and you have a build going. And the same thing with the launch as well. So you want to do a quick debug launch and do iterate quickly. As long as you have it set up as launch ArduPilot as a setting in this part. So as long as you have it set up properly in your this part in the debug, you have set it up to launch ArduPilot. F5 will just launch your debug session immediately without even going through the whole process. So that's another one of the quick iterations. So when I'm developing it, it makes it really quick to iterate between changes and actually running the debug. So this power usage available as well if you want to explore. Best way is to actually read the source code and just go through what is actually capabilities are. But I plan on making a more descriptive information around that. Maybe next year I have a presentation more about how you can power use this extension. So all of this development is actually validated and tested in CI. So you have end-to-end unit tests, and you basically run through all the environment validation and compile ArduPilot and just make sure that everything builds in VSCode. So we actually do a launch of VSCode instance in CI and run it with the environment validation, make sure that it actually builds with master and things like that. We want to basically explore and expand that even more, maybe add debugging and all that stuff in the validation as well, making sure this tool is extremely stable for users to use. Here's a list of features that will be coming. So I won't go through all of that because we are running short in time. So there will be a KubeNode APDevConf designer that will be included as well soon, so people will be able to design their APDevConf KubeNode-based modules just by selecting pins, and it will generate your hardware def, and you will be able to basically quickly spin out your perif modules. So that would be quite handy as well. That's something that's under development. Future plans. So it would be nice to have a lot of more features than what is right now, like having a way to debug Lua. So that would be nice, doing a step debugging in Lua. And maybe there's some way to do it. I have some ideas, and that would be really nice. And yeah, having LLM basically controlling your ArduPilot project and spinning out models and trying to talk to MAO proxy, all in the VSCode extension environment. Very nice feature, that one as well. So that's sort of the stuff I'm looking to implement. So GitHub issues welcome, PRs are welcome even more. So yeah, thank you very much, and happy coding. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to every single thing, but yeah.